hate to say it, I got to come on today and do some hating. I today took a look at Bleacher Report's top 100 NBA players of all time list, and this list sucks. That's what I've come to discover. I want to start by saying that having Kobe outside of your top 10, no matter what your justification for it is absolutely ridiculous. They have Kobe ranked as the 11th best player of all time, which I think is just ridiculous. I don't even think that you can make a case to have Kobe that low. I think having Kobe at 11 shows me that people over there want to be trendy, want to look cool, want to do something. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to figure out this lighting and camera situation, by the way. I can see that the focus is getting kind of fucked up. $200 camera should work, but I got to mess with the settings, get it figured out. But, lists like this make me sick. We'll start off with Kobe being outside of the top 10, which I just think is ridiculous. The guy's a 5-time champion. He only has one MVP, but he was an MVP caliber player for a long, long time. He has 2 Finals MVPs. He's an 18-time All-Star, 15 times All-NBA, 12-time All-Defense, 2-time scoring champ. And a lot of people are always freaking out about Kobe's terrible efficiency, which I feel like does not make sense to me because we have context. He played in the dead ball era. He played in an era that was known for bad space, bad pace, bad efficiency. And the man averaged 35 points a game. Actually, I think it was 36.3, something like that. I don't get it. He has the second most all-time All-NBA selections. He's one of the greatest players of all time. Unbelievably clutch, as much as people want to hate on him and say he took bad shots. I just think having Kobe at 11 makes me sick. It really does. Kobe is better than Will Chamberlain. Kobe's better than Larry. It makes me sick that they have Kobe below Bill Russell, to be honest with you. And I hate to say that, but like, you can't explain to me that Bill Russell's actually better at basketball than Kobe Bryant, but it's whatever. I just feel like lists like this are made to get publicity, and I guess they've got what they achieved. Because having Kobe outside of your top 10, it makes me feel like you don't know basketball at the end of the day. It tells me that you want to look smart and you want to be like an efficiency guy, or you want to talk about how good somebody was at this or was at that. Kobe's one of the only players of all time, and I talked about this on a prior podcast, that was arguably the best in the league on offense and one of the best in the league on defense at the same time. There's not a lot of players who really have that, right? Bill Russell didn't do that. Wilt didn't do that. Tim Duncan didn't do that. Larry never did it. Magic never did it. Those guys were never that. And I just think it's ridiculous to a guy that has 5 rings. I get it. He played with Shaq for 3 of them. And he definitely got carried in the first one. He averaged like 18 a game. Shaq averaged like 39. But Magic played with Kareem. And everybody I know has Magic in their top 5. Every list, you find Magic in the top 5. And Magic inherited Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then on that same team added James Worthy. Kobe spent 20 years playing for the Lakers and played in the most difficult era in the history of basketball. In my opinion, the hardest the NBA's ever been is the 90s, 2000s, late 90s to 2000s range, like 98 to like 2009. Like the NBA was insane then. You had such an insane stack of talent between Hakeem Olajuwon at the late end of this, at the late end of his career, Michael Jordan at the late end of his career, and then you end up with Shaq, Kobe, Duncan, Dirk, Garnett. You just have such Paul Pierce even. You have such an insane amount of talent coming into the league at this time. It just feels ridiculous to me to act like this guy's not in the top 10. It really makes me sick. Another one that I really think is just straight up stupid, to be completely honest with you. Jason Tatum at 93. I'm not a Jason Tatum guy. Jason Tatum is not worse at basketball than Lenny Wilkens. I don't care. Jason Tatum's not worse at basketball than Paul George. I don't get it. Let's look at some of the guys they have ahead of Jason Tatum real quick. Sorry, I'm going to do a quick unprofessional scroll to go all the way down to 93. Jason Tatum's not better than Dikembe Mutombo, Bob Lanier, Sam Jones. You cannot convince me that Jason Tatum, who was the number 1 option on a championship team, isn't better at basketball than Tony Parker. I love Tony Parker. What are we doing? Jason Tatum's not better than Draymond. Come on, man. It's fucking ridiculous. I'm a Draymond fan. I'm a Warriors fan. I love the guy. What are we doing? Draymond's not better than, or Jason Tatum's not better than Chauncey Billups. Really? I don't understand in a sport where the number one most important thing you can do is be the one on a championship team, how you're going to put a guy like Jason Tatum at 93, knowing damn well he's averaging 27 a game, gives you elite defense, and just won the title. He showed that he could do it. I think it's bullshit. I think it's ridiculous. They have that guy below Tiny Archibald. What the fuck did What the fuck did Tiny Archibald do in his career to deserve being above Jason Tatum? Jason Tatum is better than Grant Hill. Jason Tatum's better than Alex English. He's better than Manu Ginobili. Manu Ginobili was a six-man for most of his career. He's a fantastic six-man. Manu Ginobili, no joke, might be in my 10 to 15 favorite players of all time. He's not better than Jason Tatum. What are we doing? This makes me sick, too. I feel like, again, somehow because players are actively in the league, they just get underrated. I know that's stupid because I'm about to say Kevin Durant is in this conversation as the guy who's being a little overrated. They have Kevin Durant at 13, which that's not too far. I think I have him probably 14 to 17 range, right? But you cannot have Kevin Durant at 13 and have Giannis at 24. I think that's just absolute bullshit. Giannis was the one on a team, took them to the top. Like, clear one, had no teams as good as Kevin Durant had, and took that team to the chip while also being the best defensive player in the league. And now Giannis is winning multiple MVPs. And last year, this dude was averaging like 35, 13, and 7. Kevin Durant never did some shit like that. Kevin Durant was an MVP one time. And he was awesome in that MVP season. Giannis has been a perennial MVP candidate for the last 5 fucking years. 6 years. 7 years. 6 years. I think it's ridiculous to put Giannis at 24, knowing damn well that we all agree that he's way better than Kevin Durant on defense. At this point in his career, he's a better passer than Kevin Durant right now. He's a way better rebounder than Kevin Durant. You know what Kevin Durant's better at? Hezi pull. And I'm not saying you have to put Giannis above Kevin Durant, because I wouldn't. But having Giannis at 24 and Kevin Durant at 13 is disgusting. I don't even get how you come to that. So, again, unprofessionally, I'm going to do a scroll and find the players that they have ranked above Giannis, because I have some complaining to do. They have Giannis ranked below Dwayne Wade, maybe. Karl Malone, maybe. Moses Malone, no. Dr. J, no. David Robinson, hell no. Hell no. No. David Robinson's a playoff choker. He was never the guy. He was never the guy on a championship team, not once in his career. He won all his chips as a 2. It makes me sick. Kevin Garnett, I love Kevin Garnett so much. He's not better than Giannis. Jerry West, I guess. Oscar Robertson, I guess. But it's just like, how do you have a guy like Kevin Durant who has 1 ring, not really an insane amount of accolades besides just longevity, hezi pull, and he's 11 spots ahead of Giannis? Really? I don't get it. Another thing I was looking at, I feel like the Dolphins. Now, I've seen people talking about the Dolphins potentially moving off of Tyreek Hill. And here's my thing. I don't know if I find paying and keeping a dynamic receiver who's consistently a problem really being worth it if you aren't a contending team. And half the time, I don't know if it's worth it if you are a contending team. I find myself heavily agreeing with guys like Colin Cowherd on this, where you can draft a receiver every year and get a good receiver half the time if you're not, like the Packers. I just feel like it's ridiculous. Like, him and his quarterback are beefing. He's beefing with his quarterback. He's immature. He's getting pulled over and doing stupid shit. I like Tyreek. I really do. I don't know if I'd move off him now because he's old. But, like, is he worth it at this point to win 6 games this year? and have a bunch of weird dysfunction. Mike McDaniel's getting fired. I seen I said that I didn't think Tyreek was going to be that good this year a couple videos ago, and I got a comment from my friend talking about, "Oh my God, that's gross. Tyreek's not going to be bad this year." I don't think he's going to be bad, but I think we're going to see the decline of Tyreek Hill pretty soon. I think we're going to see 1,200 yards, 1,100 yards. He's going to be good, but like he's not a top 5 guy anymore. I don't know if he's in my top 6, maybe even 7. To me, he's not better than Justin Jefferson. He's not better than Jamar Chase. He's not better than CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, there's 5. And if you want to have a conversation of players after that, then I'm cool with that. But I don't think he's better than any of those top 5 guys. And then, like, right now, I would rather have Puka Nacua. I would rather have Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, I guess that's because they're young, but I don't know. I just feel like Tua seems like such a nice, solid guy, and Tyreek just seems like he's constantly doing the most. Like, can we get some receivers who are just going to be like a solid guy and just, can we get more CeeDee Lambs and more Justin Jeffersons? You know what? What am I complaining about? Because we have those guys, but you know what I mean? Can we just have a solid guy? I'm saying we like I'm the Dolphins or like I'm a Tyreek fan or whatever, but it just feels like it's always with the diva receiver. Maybe I'm tweaking on that. I don't know. I just don't know if I feel like it's worth it to pay a guy that much. It's not like he's getting paid top of the market right now, but he's getting paid a lot of money. And so far, he's kind of just been a nuisance leading up to the season. And I don't know if that's really worth it when you could trade this guy and get a first round. You couldn't get a first round pick, but you could get draft capital that could significantly boost your team. If I was the Dolphins, I would trade Tyreek Hill for T. Higgins in a heartbeat. I know that's not a real trade that's even possible or like an idea, but if that was offered to me, I would ship Tyreek out in a fat second. I don't know. Maybe I'm. Let me know if I'm tripping. I'm spitballing here, but I don't believe in the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are going to finish last in the division this year. And I think I've had enough of covering the Dolphins until the season starts from here on out. I think this is the last I'm going to talk about the fucking Dolphins. The Bengals finally paid Shemar Stewart today. I saw that while I was at work. That's why this podcast is coming out at night. I didn't want it to come out this late, but it's whatever. Shemar Stewart finally gets paid. I don't really know much about the guy. I know that he's a defensive player. I know that he's, hoping to improve the Bengals defense, but I just think it's ridiculous the way that they do contracts over there. The Bengals just, and even if they're right for saying that the clause was just we don't want to pay you if you go to jail, which I understand. You don't want to pay a guy who goes to fucking jail, but at the end of the day, this is feeling real Jerry Jones-esque. And when I come in here and I shit on Jerry Jones for it every day, I also am gonna have to come in here and shit on Bengals ownership for this. It's ridiculous. I think that at this point, it's starting to feel like Joe Burrow on the Bengals is turning into Matt Stafford on the Lions. And I saw Colin Cowherd talk about that, so I'm not going to act like that's my original take, but I don't really think that's a very hard conclusion to come to, is great quarterback, cheap ownership, great receiving core, and just never going to win because not a great defense, not a great O-line, not great at anything else. I think that Joe Burrow deserves better. I think that the Bengals, if they could fire their owner, they'd find a way, and they can't because he owns the fucking team. But it's Cowboys-esque. They haven't paid Trey Hendrickson yet. If they end up paying Trey Hendrickson, he's going to get more money than he deserves. The guy's like 30. He's like 30 years old, and now it just feels ridiculous. T.J. Watt just got a contract that didn't. It's not like he's going to get paid as much as T.J. Watt, but that's going to do nothing but raise the bar for how much Trey Hendrickson feels that he should be paid. He's not going to try and get as much as T.J. Watt. I'm sure he'll try, but he won't. But, it just feels to me, in my personal opinion, that I just think you're just waiting for other teams to keep setting this bar higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, and you're just fucking yourself. Are you gonna let Trey Hendrickson walk? Because if you were, you should have traded him. If you were going to let Shemar Stewart walk over guaranteeing a second-round pick contract, you should have let him walk. And I just think Bengals ownership makes me sick. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year unless they sign Trey Hendrickson. And even then, they probably won't. I don't trust that organization. The only people there I trust is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And if you're a Bengals fan, I'm sorry. I think it's bullshit. I think it's ridiculous. I think that your team deserves better. So I want to do at some point this year. I want to do some predictions. Honestly, honestly I base a lot of what I'm going to talk about here from what I watch. You know, I mean, I watch a lot of Colin Cowherd. I watch a lot of First Things First. I watch a lot of John Middlecoff. I want to see what they're talking about. See what I want to talk about. You know, and one of those things is the Caleb Williams training camp stuff seems to be getting a little overblown to me. And honest to God, I think it's a good thing. It's not a good thing that Caleb Williams can't get the line set and probably had some accuracy issues. So apparently Ben Johnson, let me set the scene, I guess. And for those of you, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you have because we're in football dead season and everyone's bored, you know. But basically Ben Johnson threw the first team out because Caleb Williams didn't get the line set. Caleb Williams probably not used to taking snaps under center. That guy's been a shotgun guy his whole life. He couldn't get the line set right, didn't get everything set up. He throws the first team out. And everyone's making it a big deal. And to be honest with you, I think that this, instead of being a negative for Caleb Williams, I think this is a positive for Ben Johnson. I'm sure that he bit that off of Dan Campbell, but I want that guy to be a leader, to be a tough guy, to be a guy who comes in and sets the fucking tone for this organization. Because what they need, what the Bears need at the end of the day is you need good leadership. It's like any business that you've ever worked for, any company you've ever worked for, if your leadership sucks, your fucking job sucks. And when you have Matt Eberflus last year, who was a complete moron, with all due respect, that timeout, I think that he refused to call, gives me the right to call that guy a moron. And he's probably significantly smarter than me, and he knows way more about football than I do. But I'm comparing you to Andy Reid. I'm comparing you to all these great elite coaches in the league. I'm comparing you to Matt LaFleur. I'm comparing you to Sean McVay. I'm comparing you to Kevin O'Connell. And I have expectations. It's ridiculous that guy was a coach. And I think that it's fantastic that Ben Johnson is coming in and setting the tone, kicking these guys out. If you're not getting shit right, your ass is on the line. And I love that. Ben Johnson, I was worried. Like most offensive coordinators, I feel like when you hire an OC, some prodigy, some kid genius, some Ben Johnson type, some Kyle Shanahan type. This wasn't the case with Shanahan, but you hire one of those boy genius OCs. I'm always worried that they're going to be soft, they're going to be weak, and it's going to be all we want to do is throw the ball. All we want to do is do trick plays. All we want to do is this. No. You need to build a culture that's going to run the ball as well, and you need to build a culture that's going to play defense, and you need to build a culture that's going to play hurt, that's going to play through shit, that's going to be able to deal with adversity and lose games. You're going to lose 2 games in a row at some point this year, probably, even though I'm picking you to win the division. Maybe. No official pick on that yet, but I think at some point in the year you're going to lose 2 games, and your team's going to feel like shit, and you need a guy who's going to come out and talk to him, and you need a CEO. A lot of people shit on the CEO head coach because they're not calling plays. Ben Johnson's not a CEO head coach, but I think the important part for this is that Ben Johnson, while being boy genius play caller, is finding the value in being in what Dan Campbell did. And I'm sure he learned that from Dan. I'm not saying it like he, is some genius. But like Dan Campbell, I feel like taught a Dan Campbell, a Mike Tomlin, unfortunately, a Nick Sirianni. I don't think that guy's a great coach, but he does something for that team, obviously. And I think that it's really important that you have that guy who's an offensive guy, and you hire him, and you're worried that he just wants to, throw the ball. But he immediately came in. He built up the trenches. He got them. He's setting a tone, and I think that's fantastic. If I was a Chicago sports fan, I would be nothing but juice seeing that Caleb Williams got thrown out. Because Caleb Williams is an insane talent. And what he needs probably in his life is a little bit of Baker Mayfield. He needs a little bit of getting humbled, a little bit of taking your hits, taking your lumps, He needs to get beat up on a little bit. His whole life he's been the best, And you need a coach who's going to come in, set the tone, get shit straight. And I think that that's awesome for Ben Johnson. I think that Ben Johnson's already doing a fantastic job, and I have to think that their play calling will 100% be better. And if he can motivate this team and get this team to play good football, I think there's nowhere but up for the Bears. Because I don't think that the Lions this year are going to be that good. Last year they won 15 games. They lost both coordinators. There's always a team that drops. And I think that when you have a team like the Lions where your strength is the offensive line, your center guard is now terrible. I'm not sure what the ranking is, but I'm sure PFF will have it rated as one of the worst in the league. I don't know. I'm sure they're not dropping center guard specifically rankings, but Jared Goff is not good under pressure, especially pressure up the middle. He's not going to roll out. He's not going to get out. If you bring the pressure up the middle, Jared Goff is going to look like Rams Jared Goff. So I think that the Lions are very much due to take a step back. I think the Packers are being a little overhyped. I talked recently about them being a young team and having a chance to, make some noise. But again, I don't know what Jordan Love is yet. He hasn't proven anything to me besides that he, can throw picks and throw touchdowns, which is cool. So can a lot of guys. Jordan Love has not yet shown to me that I think that he's the truth. So until he shows me he's the truth and nothing but the truth, I'm not super in on the Packers this year. I think they're going to be good. I think it really depends on how good Matthew Golden is. And I think the Vikings this year, I think are going to go from being what last year was a 14-win team to like a 6 or 7-win team. I'm not high on J.J. McCarthy, so I think that division is very much up for grabs. And if Ben Johnson does a good job of setting the tone, getting these guys motivated, getting them out, getting them to fight, getting them to play for each other, and as well with how good of a scheme he's built or will build and how good of a roster he has, I think it's nothing but up for the Bears. My cousin Zane, he asked me to give him the Russell Wilson Giants take. And at first, honest to God, I thought Jackson Dart was going to be the starter because he was their first-round pick. I actually like this for the Giants. The Giants have one of the most talented defensive lines in all of football, if not the most talented defensive line in all of football. I mean, think about it. You have Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. I can't remember the other guy's name. You know what I'm dealing with here. This is a ton of talent on that defense. They have Andrew Thomas on the offensive line, which isn't great outside of him, but Andrew Thomas is awesome. Malik Neighbors is kind of a sprouting young receiver. He's a bit too much of a diva for me, but he's insanely talented, so take that with a grain of salt. You can deal with somebody being a diva when they're producing the way that Malik Neighbors is going to. And I think that Russell Wilson in general is thought of as a corny doofus. You know what I mean? He plays football well, but he's kind of a dork. He's coming in, he's, doing push-ups on the plane or whatever stupid shit he was doing in Denver. And at the end of the day, that's always odd. But like I was just talking about with Ben Johnson, you know what the Giants need? The Giants need a fucking adult. The Giants need a guy who's going to come in, not throw a shitload of picks, not do stupid shit, not be Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is going to be a starter this year, but I think that this is honestly really good for the Giants because I think you give Jackson Dart a guy who's a very, very talented quarterback and a very, very talented arm, but needs to kind of sit behind a guy and get that like decision making, get that understanding of the game, get that, hey, you know what we got to do on this play? We got to hit this guy for this 2-yard out. Or you know what we got to do this time, Jackson? We got to fucking throw it away. Sometimes you got to live to see another down. And I think that a lot of quarterbacks get a ton of value from learning behind a guy who teaches you little shit. There's almost similarities like in basketball when you have a guy who's coming up. It won't be benched or not playing, but like a guy who's coming up learning behind a great player, where it's like you're going to learn that you don't have to shoot the ball every time. You can find your shit in the flow of the offense. And I think that Russell Wilson will do a great job mentoring this kid. Whether or not he thinks Russell Wilson is a doofus, he's going to learn from Russell Wilson, at least to some extent, And I think Russ he's not good, he's not great, But, like, can Russell Wilson be the 16th best quarterback in the league this year? Maybe. And if he's that, the Giants are going to be an okay team. Now, you're going to get your ass kicked in that division. Excuse me. Unfortunately, you are going to get your ass kicked in that division, even if Russ was the 7th best quarterback in football, which not a chance in hell that happens, but you're going to get your ass kicked in division because you have the Commanders and you have the Eagles and you have the Cowboys, who I'm a little down on this year, but I think, man, I think that it's good for the Giants. I think in the long term, like right now, I'm sure people are like, man, we want to see Jackson Dart. We drafted this guy. We want to see what he can do. Me too. But I wanted to see what, everyone wanted to see what Aaron Rodgers could do. Everyone wanted to see what Patrick Mahomes could do. Everyone wanted to see what a lot of these guys could do. And what benefited them the most was sitting behind a guy and learning. Not every punch has to be a knockout. Little Floyd Mayweather at quarterback. Let's be smart with the ball. Let's not take stupid swings. Let's learn how to play football. And that's not me saying Jackson Dart plays stupid or doesn't know how to play football. That's me saying young guys, Jackson Dart's my age. I would have no fucking idea what in hell to do when Steve Spagnuolo sends that blitz off the edge. And there's a corner here, and I look over, my offensive line on this side's blocking nobody because he didn't actually send the edge. The edge is in the flat. Now I can't hit my flat. And there's a corner coming from this side, and I'm about to shit my pants. And now I'm throwing a ball 68 yards down the field to get picked off and returned. That guy's my age. There's going to be stupid shit like that goes through his brain. Will Levis shit. And you don't want Will Levis shit from your quarterback. And I think Russell Wilson, that's not me saying that's what Jackson Dart is, but I think Russell Wilson's going to give you serviceable quarterback play. He's not going to be awesome. He's going to give you serviceable quarterback play this year while also getting Jackson Dart ready to come in and give you hopefully good to great quarterback play in the coming seasons. And maybe you build something. You know what I mean? If the Giants this year win 8 games, which would be a fucking huge success for the Giants at this point. If the Giants won 9 games, they might throw a parade, right? Say the Giants win 8 or 9 games, they start to feel the culture starts to feel good. Brian Daboll starting to teach the team what needs to be done, how it needs to be done. Brian Daboll's a good coach who got a bad rap because the Giants sucked for the last couple years after where they made the playoffs a couple years back when he got propped up, and I think he got coach of the year. And I think that the Giants this year, say they win 8 games, right? And then Russell Wilson's career is coming to a close and Jackson Dart's feeling good. And Jackson Dart can be the 11th best quarterback in football, the 14th best quarterback in football as a rookie. You nail your draft picks and the Giants are on nothing but the up and up. You nail a couple draft picks, you get a nice tight end, you add another piece of the offensive line in the first round, you get a tight end in the third round, you get a couple DBs, you get a Mike linebacker. The Giants could be awesome 4 years down the road from now. But a lot of these guys, the big problem in the NFL now is a lot of guys will get fired quick. So these guys are all worried about their job this year. But Russell Wilson, for now, could be a great step towards teaching Jackson Dart how to be a franchise quarterback. And on top of being a franchise quarterback, setting the team up for years of success, And I think that's pretty much all that I got today. I mean, I did a quick 28 and a half minutes. I'm happy with that. I worked a 12-hour shift today. I'm going to try and put this out tonight. It's going to be too late. Nobody's going to see it, but I'll post some clips on TikTok. I'm pretty happy with this. We're going to do another one tomorrow, and I got some more shit to talk about. I think we're actually going to go a little bit more in depth into the Lions situation. I think we're going to talk about I saw some pre-training camp power rankings. Just some interesting shit. I'll see you guys tomorrow.